Let's break this down with former law clerk to Judge Kavanaugh and also Justice Kennedy. Justin Walker joins us. Great to have you back with us, Justin.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, so it's not just the abortion issue. I want to play a little bit more of what Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi had to say today.
Because of some of the comments that Justice Kavanaugh has made and others, it is important to note that everything is at risk. Roe v. Wade, a woman's right to choose, Brown versus the Board of Education, civil rights, environmental issues, gun safety, the list goes on and on.
All right, so the positive there, if you're supporting Judge Kavanaugh, she is now referring to him as Justice Kavanaugh. But the downside there are all of the things that are going to go away, including Brown v. Board of Education, Justin.
Oh, my goodness. You know, I think it's important to put this mudslinging in a little bit of perspective. Some of the very same groups that are criticizing Judge Kavanaugh right now, NARAL, Pro-Choice America, for example, criticized Ruth Bader Ginsburg when she was nominated to the court in 1993. They said she was insufficiently supportive of abortion rights. Number two, I think it's important to listen to people left, right, and center who are open-minded and fair-minded about this. Just today, President Obama's former Solicitor General, Don Verrilli, called Judge Kavanaugh a brilliant jurist. And then number three, and finally, I would point out, for anyone who's wondering how Judge Kavanaugh feels about precedents, whether those precedents are Roe or any other precedent, just read the book that he wrote, along with 12 other distinguished judges, called The Law of Judicial Precedents, in which he says, in page after page, and I'll tell you, Shannon, it's 1,000 pages long, he says fidelity to precedent is important. They should only be overturned in extraordinary circumstances. Faithfulness to precedent encourages stability and predictability and the rule of law.
Yeah, last time I lugged around a 1,000-page book, it was law school, and I don't think I'm going to go back and read the whole thing, maybe some excerpts. Interesting, though, we've got a new Pew poll out that talks about this idea of where people are with the Supreme Court. 83% of people who responded said that they feel like it's the next person to be chosen is either somewhat or very important to them. They also said this, though, about nominees being asked questions. 61% of adults overall said that if they're ask questions about hot-button issues like abortion, they should have to answer those. Justin, what do you think about that?
Well, that kind of answer by a judicial nominee would be somewhat unprecedented, and I think many people will consider it to be unethical for a judge to prejudge a particular case or a particular controversy until that judge has heard briefing from both sides, an argument, and all those kinds of things. So I expect that Judge Kavanaugh, if asked about specific cases, will give the same response that Justice Ginsburg gave, Justice Breyer gave, previous justices who've been nominated, and that is he can talk about his approach to the law, his general belief in the importance of precedent, his desire to stick to the text of a law and not impose his personal ideology. But I don't think it would be appropriate for him to say how he would decide a certain case.
Well, there's also a letter out today to the Senate from more than 100 civil rights groups that have come together and have said they're worried about his position on presidential power and whether or not presidents should have to answer to criminal investigations while they are in office. They say that he lacks the requisite independence from President Trump to serve as a much-needed check on his abuses of power. Would he be an independent jurist?
Judge Kavanaugh's 12-year record, 300 opinions, it demonstrate nothing but independence and fair-mindedness. Time and again, he has done what the law requires rather than imposing any kind of passion or prejudice for a particular party. And with response to that particular issue, I think it's important to look at what Judge Kavanaugh wrote. He did not in any way question the legality of an investigation, very much like the kind of investigation that Robert Mueller is conducting right now. He wrote a law review article about a legislative proposal, but it was just that, something for Congress to consider, not any kind of guidance about what courts should do.
And those are two separate branches. We should remind folks tonight. All right, Justin Walker, great to have you with us again.